In this lesson, we're going to learn some right hand technique and a pattern that you can use on any chord that has its root on the 5th string. So get tuned up or use the tuning video. So let's talk a little bit about right hand technique. It's really important in fingerstyle guitar. I'll talk to you about the things that I think about when I play, some of the things I've learned, and as I watch other people play. First of all, the thumb is going to take care of the 6th string, the 5th string, and the 4th string. So the thumb looks after the bass strings. We've got 3 fingers. The index finger is going to look after the 3rd string. The second finger will look after the 2nd string, and the 3rd finger is going to play the 1st string. That's going to happen on most of the patterns that we'll be playing. So the thumb is looking after the bass notes, the notes on the 6th, 5th, and 4th string. The index finger is looking after the 3rd, second finger the 2nd, and 3rd finger of the 1st string. With my thumb, now you may notice I've got a hunk of blue plastic on here. That's a thumb pick. So I use a thumb pick. I don't use it all the time, but if I'm performing or recording, I would probably use a thumb pick. There's a couple of times I wouldn't, but I really like the sound that the thumb picks make on the strings. I have a little bit of nail on my right hand fingers just to support the flesh. So because those nails bring out the notes, if I didn't use a thumb pick, I find that the bass notes are just a little bit thumpy and not real clear. So the difference would be, there's just the thumb by itself. I'll put the thumb pick on and play those notes. So you can hear how that really brings out the definition of the tone of those bass strings, and really matches up the sound of my right hand fingers, evens it out with them. Now there's a few times where I wouldn't use a thumb pick. If I'm just sitting at home playing for fun, goofing around, I may not use a thumb pick. I might just play the patterns. Or if I want an acoustic-y sound, if I'm going for more of that kind of a sound, almost trying to sound a little bit more like an acoustic bass with a walking bass line, I probably wouldn't use a thumb pick. And also, there are times if I want to really dig into the strings, I may not use a thumb pick. For me, that's hard to dig in like that. But the vast majority of the time, I've got my thumb pick on and I like the sound of it. And another thing that the thumb pick does, it kind of forces my thumb to be in what I would consider to be the right position. What you want to avoid here is playing, if you're not using a thumb pick, playing with your thumb crooked like that. You really want that thumb to hit that string with the side of it. Not really going for the tip of it, but just the side of it like that. And I find when I use the thumb pick, it automatically does that. It gets that thumb in the right position. So give that some thought, and if you go to a music store, maybe experiment with a few different thumb picks and try them out, because I think you'll be happy with the results. Now, we should talk about the first 3 fingers. What I try to do is get the first knuckle in from the tips of my fingers fairly relaxed. I find that it helps give me a real smooth pattern when I'm accompanying. And also, it gives me some leeway. If I want to get louder, I can dig in by tensing up on those knuckles. So if I'm playing a quiet part and I want to dig in, get some more volume and some more sort of, I guess, aggression, I just tense up on those fingers to make it sound a little bit edgier. And the other thing is the pinky. So the pinky is pretty important. If you watch most guitar players play, whether they play fingerstyle or whether they play with a flat pick, they'll usually have something going on down here with their right hand. And more often than not, it's the pinky on the body of the guitar. And that's there really to steady our right hand so we can be more accurate with it. If we don't do that, the closest thing touching is way up here by the elbow, and that's kind of a lot of leeway. So we want something down here. Some guitar players may rest their heel up on the bridge, or some may use a couple of fingers, but usually something's going on. But remember, that pinky is not stuck there. It's just sort of touching and floating around. It can move up or down on the pick guard as you need it, as you're playing different patterns. One more thing to think about with your first three fingers is those fingers want to come up on the strings. Try not to have them too sideways or you'll get this going on. A little bit of a whoosh, 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 if you can hear that. You hear how that tone changes? It's a lot more direct when those fingers come a little bit more up. It's really hard to get them coming straight up because of the angle of the hand and the guitar. But try to think about that. When we're playing patterns, one of the things that I really love about fingerstyle guitar is the sound that it makes on a simple chord progression. If I was playing a chord progression that said, for example, from a C chord to an A minor chord, and I was strumming it with a pick, I'll just use my index finger. That sounds nice, but I think when we finger pick it, it really takes it to a different place and really spices up a basic chord progression. And what usually happens when people play fingerstyle, people listening to it think it's a lot more interesting to listen to than just strumming chords. So keep those things in mind. That's my approach to the right-hand fingerstyle technique. Okay, let's get started with my pattern number one. Pattern number one is what I call an all-purpose pattern, and it's going to get you through almost any chord that you need to play that has its root on the 5th string. Now, we've got our C chord here, and I'm going to play the pattern slowly for you. And remember, if you want to check out these patterns, check them out on the video section on the pattern slowed down and at different tempos. So I'm going to play the thumb, rock steady on the bass. Thumb, 5th string, 4th string, 5th string, 4th string. Just like that. Thumb, 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 thumb. Now, the pattern is going to go thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. And what I'm saying out loud there is the right hand fingering. And I think it's a good idea for you to say that out loud too, just to verbalize it and get it into your brain so your brain can tell your fingers what to do. So it's thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. So we've got thumb on the 5th string, thumb on the 4th string, then index finger on the 3rd string. I also think it's a good idea when you practice these patterns, take them one little step at a time. Not necessarily always trying to play the whole pattern over and over, but just take it one step at a time until you nail those steps and then add a step. For example, if we went thumb, thumb first, and did that again, thumb, thumb first, thumb, thumb first. When we go to add a pattern, add a step to that pattern, it's not so daunting. We've got those first 3 steps down. So let's try that again. We'll go thumb, thumb first. So it's thumb, thumb first. Now after that first finger, the thumb goes back to the 5th string. So it's thumb, thumb first, thumb, thumb, thumb first, thumb. Now we'll add the next note, which is going to be the 2nd finger on the 2nd string. So now we've got thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb, thumb first, thumb second. After that, we've got the thumb on the 4th string. So far the pattern's going thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb. And we're going to end with the 1st finger on the 3rd string to finish off the pattern. So it's going to be thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. That's my pattern number one. I'm going to count us in and let's try that together. We'll play that for one measure. 2, 3, 4. Thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. Now you'll notice the tab is on the screen. If you don't understand tab, check out my tab lesson. If you do, just read away or check what I'm doing with my left and right hands here. So that again, that pattern is thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. So I'm going to play that 4 times in a row. You can play along with me. I'll count us in. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. Thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. Now it's really important that you can play one measure of that. Then you may need to practice one measure at a time. Then you play 2 measures. Then you play 3. Then you play 4 measures after that. Now let's talk about that pattern again, but as another fifth string root chord. So C is a fifth string root chord. If you strum chords, you know that when you strum a C chord, you shouldn't hit the sixth string, which means the fifth string is our root note. Another chord that's related to the C chord would be an A minor chord. An A minor is a relative minor of C. It's the sixth step of the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A. It's a relative minor. This is 6 minor. So it's an important chord in the key of C. So when we play an A minor chord, we don't have to change our right hand at all, because A minor, like C, is a fifth string root. So I'm going to play you 2 measures of A minor with the pattern. It sounds like this. I'll count us in. Let's try that together. Remember, thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds great. Let's do that for 4 measures in a row. I'll count us in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first, thumb, thumb first, thumb second, thumb first. Now, if you think about it, like I mentioned before, A minor is a fifth string root, so are the other chords in open position of the other chords of A. So A major would work fine with this pattern, as would A7. So we've played C several measures in a row. We've played A minor several measures in a row. What do you think would be the next step? Let's combine those 2 chords. So I'm going to play 2 measures of C, then I'm going to go to 2 measures of A minor. And as I do that, remember, my right hand isn't changing. Both of those chords are fifth string root chords. All it's changing is my left hand is going from a C chord to an A minor. That just means one finger is moving, the third finger. So here's what it sounds like, 2 measures each. 2 measures of C, 2 measures of A minor. I'll count us in. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. A minor. Now, one of the things that I'll be talking about is changing from chord to chord. When we go from a C to an A minor, the root note for an A minor is an open string. So as I go there, I don't need to have my left hand on the A minor before I start the pattern. I can be keeping the bass line going as my left hand is on its way to A minor, like this. If you notice on my right hand, I kept the pattern going. My hand wasn't even on the A minor. It was on the way to the A minor because I've got time to get there because the fifth string is open on an A minor. So again, C, A minor, switch. Think about that as you're going from chord to chord. It's a little bit more critical as we're finger picking the chords as opposed to strumming them. So that's lesson number 1. Now what did we cover in lesson 1? We covered right hand technique as it pertains to chords with the root on the fifth string, the C and the A minor. Next lesson, we're going to take chords that have the root on the sixth string, such as G and E minor. And that's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to give you something to play. It sounds like this.